But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the house barrage, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here used
Now,
as a
banking
sex
isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And I hope you didn't miss terribly the language stream today. I had an outing. I haven't seen my nieces in a while, and we decided we were going to a corn maze, and had just an absolutely amazing time, and so had a little break from streaming to accommodate that. My nieces are incredible, and I highly recommend having nieces. They rock. Okay, so all sorts of interesting bullshit to look at today. Let's see. We've got some high-grade Zionist cope with the ghouls over at JNS TV about BB's war strategy you shouldn't miss. And I hope this should be quite interesting because, like, even commentators who are by no means hostile to the regime have described what's going on as a strategic vacuum, where essentially they're just sort of going around and murdering large numbers of people and not even considering the possibility that at the same time they are fucking themselves militarily. So it would be interesting to see what JNS tries to, what kind of like happy-faced JNS tries to put on the absolute clusterfuck that is the IDF's excuse for any kind of strategy. Oh, yeah. Well, it was... The corn maze was a little bit easier than it might have otherwise been because they also got hit by the periphery of the hurricane, and so, like, the tops of the corn, corn stalks actually fell off in a lot of it. Which has actually caused them. They're like not having a great year as a result of it. But it was fun. It was a lot of walking. We got, it's divided into these like sectors, and in each one there's a mailbox that has a piece of the map, and you're collecting all the pieces of the map of the maze. And my younger niece and I, my mom came along, and she and my older niece were together, and I was with my younger niece, and we managed to zip through, like, practically everything else, but then the last one was in the one area where the corn was really quite intact, and so it was quite high up, and there were also basically no other people, so you couldn't like take cues from other people who just found the mailbox. And so we spent like 45 minutes wandering around in there trying to find it. Oh, it was good. We had a good time. My nieces rock. Hey Adam, how you doing? Let's see. Then we've got Destiny going on a rant about how Hassan is going on a rant about him. We've got the Young Turfs who referred to the State Department's disgusting response after U.S. citizen killed by Israeli strike. Also Berlinerisch ist sozusagen bei mir eher die Werkseinstellung, aber naja, Fränkisch ist ja irgendwie auch drin, Tirolerisch ein bisschen auch. Es kommt ja irgendwie auch auf meine Umgebung an. Ich neige zum Berlinern, wenn ich in Berlin bin, zum Tirolern, wenn ich in Österreich bin. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. We've got Anna Transphobian. Destiny looking at Anna Transphobian, explaining why she's leaving the left, having never been there. Then we've got Twat Mulch. Liberal women are wrong about beards. Let me mansplain. I don't know what the hell that's gonna be about. Oh, not bad. My feet are tired. That was, like, I messed up my ankles, both of them, a few months ago, and it's taken forever for them to recover. And that was, like, the biggest, longest walk that I've gone on in a while. Hey, Shakespeare. But it worked out pretty well. My right foot hurts a bit, but other than that. Oh, not bad. Okay, then we've got Darman, and a teacher won't show her face inside school, and judging from the picture, the point is she's wearing a mask in a school, which in the US in particular, the COVID hotspot of the world, is not a really bad idea. In fact, we'd be having a lot less people getting, like, permanently disabled by COVID if people were taking basic fucking precautions. And then this showed up in my Rex. This is Sam Cedar in the Majority Report looking at the incompetence of the IDF. And I thought that might be interesting to look at. So we've got Twat Mulch on beards and why liberal women are apparently wrong about them. I didn't know liberal women had reached a consensus on beards. But apparently they told Twat Mulch that they had. We got Anna Transphobian. We've got fucking JNS TV trying to come up with a way to turn this genocidal clusterfuck with a side of military incompetence into some sort of a strategy for victory, which, I mean, is just high grade cope. Any particular preferences from chat? I'm kind of interested in that one too, actually. Just because, I mean, I've been following, like, from the Resistance Report, John Elmer does on Electronic Intifada, which is always brilliant. And, like, the incompetence of the IDF is pretty well established. I mean, it's not surprising, either. Because, I mean, they're not an army in any meaningful sense. They are cops. They're glorified cops. Their usual use case is terrorizing defenseless people. That's all they know how to do. That's what they're trained for. And so they have absolutely no idea what to do when they're facing actual, like, trained fighting forces. And that's what's happening. I mean, I remember watching, early on, there was an interview with, like, I think it was a Qassam fighter in Gaza. And he was saying, you know, we trained really hard for this, and I'm kind of disappointed in these guys because they're not worthy of our training. And it's like, and they have really kind of been consistent about that and not being worthy of any kind of serious training. Oh, we actually looked at that video last week. I thought that was... Well, we got to the point where the caller decides to go off in this, like, buck wild hypothetical that made absolutely no fucking sense and visibly made Loserbox very happy because he didn't have to explain his justification for, like, Zionist crimes against humanity. Oh god, yeah, of course they are. That's why, I mean, I've been keeping an eye to see. I'd been out in a corn maze most of the day today, so I hadn't been able to keep up on like the field reports. But apparently, the Israeli forces are still tied up around the village of Odessa on the border. And I mean, they keep on trying to send keep on trying to send troops in to try to invade it. Oh, different one. Oh, it's a different one. Oh, let me check then. Hang on. And they keep on getting sent back in very bad shape. And yeah, let's see. Israel oh wow. Oh, this is Loser Box again. Oh, and... that was the wrong window for it to open into. Israel faces a new reality as the war takes more lives. Like... What even is that fucking headline, anyway? Like, the war takes more lives because 8 Israeli goons got killed. Like, it looks like they've already lost about 15,000 between people who are permanently out of action but still alive and people who are permanently out of action and also not still alive. I mean, and not to mention like a couple of 100,000 people murdered. Ja, GGM, ja, das habe ich schon gehört. Ich wollte mal sehen, was mir Shakespeare hier beschert hat. That also looks quite interesting. Let's see, maybe we can see a little bit of both. Let me just stick this here. Like... There we go. I'm gonna start out with Anatransphobian. See what that one's all about. Yeah, they keep on sending them in, and they keep on having to send in helicopters to take them back out again.
Has left the left. My God, that literally no one could have seen coming. Holy. You're right. I've changed. After Trump came onto the political scene, and especially...
He's independent and unaligned. God, this is like the most fucking predictable move of any sort of vaguely progressive liberal pundit who realizes there's more money in being right-wing, because there's more money in being right-wing. There's a reason it virtually always moves in this direction, if it gets any attention. If somebody who is like a right-wing pundit moves left, has some sort of awakening moment or something like that, that's usually just the end of their career and you never hear from them again unless you happen to be paying attention to them. But when people move right, oh wow, you get it. They make the fucking lecture circuit.
After he was elected in 2016, the us versus them mentality immediately took shape. Anyone who refused to resist Trump was seen as a threat to the country, and I was fully on board with that mindset.
Okay. Like, okay, here we go. Polling shows that he has increased his support among black and Latino voters despite wall-to-wall coverage on his unsavory, racist, or bigoted remarks. Yeah, the thing about increasing your support when your support is next to nothing is that doesn't fucking mean anything. And also, with Latino voters, like, they treat that as a single voting block. as if, but the thing is, when you actually break it down by, say, income and ethnicity and culture, country of origin, because Latine isn't really an ethnicity. It is a collection of ethnicities that all have in common that they are somehow connected to Latin America, which is why the term, incidentally, is kind of meaningless in Latin America and is very hardly used. Like, when you look at, like, Latine white people's voting habits, they've been supporting Trump all along. When you look at the rest, then no, they have not. I mean, so he's increased his support. That is, like, fucking meaningless, because his support was within the margin for error in the first place.
It all felt righteous at first. But eventually, the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling
What
shows
tactics? Like, what tactics is she even talking about?
that he has increased his support among black and Latino voters, despite wall-to-wall coverage of his unsavory, racist, or bigoted...
I mean, this is like when somebody say, like, Caleb Muppet, I haven't heard him say this, but he could go like, ours is the fastest growing group in the world. And it's like, that means nothing. If you have like 2 people and you add 2 people, you've had 100% growth. That is, in percentage terms, huge. Until you look at the actual numbers behind it. It's fucking meaningless. Jackson Eagle se convirtió a ser un ortodoxo ruso, weón. Ya, ¿dónde la viste? ¿Dónde o sea que le ofrecieron plata a los ortodoxos rusos, weón.
remarks. Donald Trump has doubled his support among black voters. What is doubling? From what to what?
Yeah, like, I hate to do this. Worst person in the world, the worst person you know has valid point, but yeah, exactly. That fucking means nothing. And it's a survey of registered voters as well. Registered voters is already not an entirely representative thing to begin with. Because voting is a very ABC1 activity. Voters are generally better off, more right-wing, and tend to be less politically well-informed than non-voters. So that's already that. And then when you get into, like, in the black community, the number of, like, you get into the level of disenfranchisement that exists in the black community, the number of people who would like to vote, but aren't allowed to register, or not to mention the ones who, like the huge number who actually look at this and say, this is a shit show, none of these people is gonna have my back, and won't bother, quite understandably, quite reasonably because of it. So when you're talking about, you're already getting a more right-wing sample than the overall population.
From 12 points to 21 points.
Okay. A 12 percentage point increase from... Okay, what these numbers are ridiculous. Because when you look at the actual... If you look at the number of black voters who would admit to have voted for him, it was a single-digit percentage. So these are meaningless numbers.
From one poll to the next poll. A morning consult survey of 11,501 registered voters. Wait, why are we comparing?
Oh, it's increased among black moderates and black conservatives. So, like, literally the people who are most likely to be support a Republican to begin with.
Why are we comparing what Trump's polling was in 2020 to 2024? What about like from 2016 to 20...
And also, like, is this poll specifically of black voters? Or were black voters one group sampled amongst the whole? Because that matters. Because you're talking about a rather small percentage of the population overall. It would be very easy to have sampling error, sampling bias in that. If this is like an overall poll of like all registered voters versus specifically of black registered voters.
2020. In 2020, after Trump was president for 4 years, he had, among black moderates, his support was 8 points. In 20...
Which is still more than voted for him. Oh, well, 8% of black moderates. Like, and what percentage of the respondents identified as moderates?
2024, it's 19 points, but are we only talking about moderates? Specifically, the poll found that Trump's support among black moderates and black conservatives has increased significantly, doubling among moderates. Well, hold on. Who would identify as a moderate?
Oh, God, I really hate to do this, but yes, he's making the obvious point here. He is quite right. He is absolutely right. I see. Don't let anyone say that I am unfair to these assholes. He is making an absolutely valid point here. This survey is fucking meaningless. And the thing is, when you see these surveys that'll tell you, oh, look, there's this huge support amongst black people for Trump. When you actually read the thing, it turns out, no, that's not what happened. I mean, they did this with, like, the police. Sí, es un antisemita, obvio. But they did this with, like, defunding the police and stuff. And they would say, you'd have this headline that says, or with BLM, this headline that says, Black Lives Matter has lost a huge amount of support. And then you read the article, and it would be that amongst Republicans specifically, the support dropped from like 50 to 49 or something like that. And the only surprising thing about that was the sheer number of people who identified as Republicans who were supporting it in the first place. In fact, and it's the same sort of thing we see here. These headlines are completely misleading. So we're talking about this, okay, 72% among, Harris amongst black voters. Is that registered or likely voters? They don't say. Is 72%. So obviously, the figures that they led this article with cannot be from the total. They have to be of a subset.
Wait, this methodology is so questionable. Wait, do you understand the issue here? Like, imagine you have like, imagine you have 100 voters who are undecided, and let's say that they call themselves moderate, and then let's say that you have, let's say an election happens, a cycle goes on, and then that 100 group, let's say that shrinks by 90%. Let's say 90 of those people are like, I'm not moderate anymore. This is insane. I'm going to go be part of this party now. So you have 10 moderates left. Let's say of those 10 moderates, let's say like 8 of them are like, this Trump guy seems kind of cool.
This is painful, but he is saying everything that I would be saying here.
Before, you had...
I'm sure we're going to get into shit where he's going to say something whack coming up. I'm sure. It's density, after all. He says whack shit all the time. But what he's saying right here is, I really have nothing to add.
People that were cool with Trump, out of 100, your support might be 20%. But if the moderates that you have left, you've only got 10 left, let's say a bunch left. Now let's say of those moderates, 8 support Trump. You went from 20 to 8, an absolute decrease in number, but as a percentage, you increased your percentages by 60-point increase.
Yeah.
Right now you have 80%
absolutely.
support among moderates.
Absolutely. This is, he's totally on the money here. Yeah, this is true, again, like every time you see one of these studies that's like, oh wow, Latina voters really like Trump, it turns out. And it's like a survey of 10 former members of Patria y Libertad from Chile said in 2024 that 60% of them like Trump, whereas 4 years ago it was only 10% because 90% said they liked Hitler and Pinochet.
I'm not saying that this kind of polling is bad, okay? Just to be clear, I'm not saying this is bad or the data is worthless.
No, yeah. The problem most of the time with these things, when you look at these, this is why you just can just discount the media reporting on polls. If the poll is any good at all, the big, serious polls, you can always find their data tables. The data tables show you what questions were asked and the demographic breakdown of who answered how. And that is what's useful. That is what's interesting. When you look at how the media will spin these things, it bears no resemblance to what the polls actually say.
Of what you're polling on, I'm curious, what is the actual percentage support? Well, to be fair, actually, this one sounds like... I wonder what this means when it says supporting Trump. Hold on.
Yeah, also a good question.
Voting... What would we even look for?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would look for the Morning Consult 2024
polling Trump by race? Are you able to get chat on screen? Yeah, I could. Do I want chat on screen? Do I care that much? Does it link the poll in the article?
Morning Consult
poll crosstabs are paywalled. It's this. Oh, well, that's kind of annoying.
Who the hell is Morning Consult? That is not a polling outfit I'm actually familiar with. Let's see what SourceWatch has to say. American Business Intelligence coming. This is Wikipedia. Started by Deloitte. Okay. I mean, okay, so Morning Consult is specifically providing information to, like, business people, to investors, people making investment decisions. It's going to try to actually do it. So they're going to be trying to provide serious figures then. So the article sucks shit, but the polling is probably worthwhile.
Pollsters ranked 107th by 538. Yeah, they might not be a high
okay, but let's
skip
this
in pointage
a little bit. I want to get back to the fucking transphobian article.
Buddy, eventually they're going to look elsewhere. All hell broke loose.
Okay, here we go. Let's get back.
Oh, I don't know how you prevent a person like this from flipping. I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now she's bringing back the time she said something really, really transphobic. Something that she had pointed out was a right-wing dog whistle 11 months prior.
As a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates, how do people not and flaws on both sides of the aisle, and no one has a monopoly on truth?
Yeah, this is pathetic. Actually, yeah. So, okay. I will say it is absolutely not a flex, because this was obviously what she was doing the minute she decided to try to start a shitstorm by saying transphobic shit on Twitter. But I did kind of call it that this was going to be when she announces she left the left.
Then there was the insane reaction to one of my tweets in March of 2023.
the insane reaction, leaving aside the ableism of that, what was really remarkable about it is how many people gave her a pass. How many people politely explained to her as if she had no idea what she was doing, even though she herself pointed out exactly that she knew exactly what she was doing. I mean, people completely did not, and in fact, she actually seemed to be dissatisfied with how moderate the reaction she was getting from people who really should have let her have it, that she decided to double down on it, and then she decided to say a bunch of, white supremacist shit, too.
I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community
Don't call anatransphobia a person.
without doing this shit. This is true. Man, this is just
No,
another
it isn't
unfortunate-
true. Fuck you. See, I told you I was going to say some whack shit. I mean, yes, it is true that she said that. But, I mean, she was trying to start some shit over the fact that that public health statistics were taking into account the fact that menstruation and pregnancy are not specifically limited to women because there are trans men and non-binary people.
It's just another thing. I don't know what to say. People do this. People get mind rotted. Basically, you have a bad experience with a group of people, and then you decide to become the exact opposite politically. I understand why people do it.
Well,
It's
no,
just-
I mean, that's the thing. That isn't what happened. This was a very calculated move on her part. I mean, people linked to a video from 11 months before where she was calling the exact thing she did out and saying, this is obviously a right-wing dog whistle. This is not a thing. Don't do this. Which is why the response, which was people trying to fucking educate her, like she didn't know what she was doing, was so piss weak. She did this. She didn't have a bad experience and then decide to move to the other side. She's been saying reactionary shit for a long time, and she clearly realized that that was the direction that she wanted to move in.
It's kind of sad, I guess. I don't know how you prevent a person like this from flipping because, yeah. It's
Well,
dumb.
it isn't flipping. She was already there.
Stupid. You kind of predicted this before? I mean, it's not a hard prediction to make. It happens. If you harass the fuck out of somebody, eventually...
Which is not what happened. She was not harassed. In fact, Olayemi from Olurinati, when she went on Left Wing Mafia after this and called people out because there were so many people who should have known better, giving her a pass on this, being not in the sense of saying that what she said was okay, but acting like it was, something where she just didn't understand that what she was doing was hurtful and a right-wing dog whistle and stuff. And Olayemi went out and totally just cooked them, rightly so, for this absolutely piss weak reaction, because nobody was actually all the people who in some way or another tried to maintain a relationship with the Young Turfs were just giving these really weak responses. She was not harassed. Gute Nacht.
they're going to look elsewhere. All hell broke loose after I posted those words.
No, it didn't.
Most
No, it
friends
fucking didn't.
in left-wing media didn't bother reaching out privately to discuss their disagreement with my personal preference.
Instead, many self-described socialists. See, apparently, it is anti-socialist to mildly criticize fucking Anna Transphobian when she does a right-wing transphobic dog whistle.
Instead, many self-described socialists took it upon themselves to profit from conflict by publicly attacking me with monetized videos. Okay.
Well, yeah, because like she didn't do various monetized videos slagging off trans people, and she actually took the opportunity to become a Central Park birdwatcher truther, and to like stan Kyle Shittentraus. That shit was monetized. And the people who criticized her have nowhere near the reach and nowhere near the revenue coming in from their videos that she got from saying transphobic shit.
We do news and punditry. Everything we do is monetized. Come on. A smaller leftist YouTube show put out 5 separate videos skewering me about the tweet, while conveniently erasing the advocacy I had done on behalf of the transgender community throughout my career. They even went as far as drawing a link between my tweet and trans suicides, which
sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debacle. First of all, it's like there's a huge onslaught of murderous anti-trans laws, and she was dog whistling support for it. So yeah, there is a link between that. Trans people who worked for the Young Turfs left, and they pointed out that what she'd done was really hurtful. Hey, Adrien, bonsoir. Yeah, pointed out how hurtful what she did was, and fucking Junk Uyghur just went and said, and just told him to fuck off. Absolutely no engagement, no willingness to acknowledge what was wrong with what she did. An on-air transgender contributor even resigned from the company after being urged by online mobs and leftist shows to do so. That's not what happened.
sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debacle. TYT's volunteer...
She didn't take their advice. She specifically left because she was pissed off at both Anna-Transphobian's transphobic dog whistling and the fact that the boss of TYT had Anna-Transphobian's back rather than recognizing that what she did was fucked up.
YouTube chat moderators quit over the tweet, and someone reported me to Human Resources. An on-air transgender contributor even resigned from the company after being urged by online mobs and leftist shows to do so. Curious that not one of those shows hired her after she took their advice. Ha! I never apologized for the tweet, and I never will. That whole experience forced me to come to terms with the intolerance on the left, and it allowed me to publicly reject the ideological shackles that kept my world small.
The ideological shackles. We're supposed to think... Look, this is just so fucking dishonest. This is impressively dishonest. This, because she knew what she was doing. This is not how that went down. The initial response was very tepid. Okay? And it wasn't until Olayemi, Olurinati said, this is bullshit, this needs to be called out. She is getting a pass from people because they have a relationship with TYT. And she properly skewered it. She's trying to suggest that the trans people who left the show after complaining internally somehow have no agency and didn't decide that their self-respect did not permit them to continue working for a show that was going to continue to employ somebody who is openly transphobic at a time when trans people are in serious danger in this country.
And more naive, curious, than I was 4 years ago. I've made humiliating mistakes while covering political news because I was previously unwilling to consider or understand the perspective of Americans who vote differently from me. What to expect from the now unaligned...
Oh, she's gonna... 2 to 3 written pieces that dig deeper into the big stories of the week with the intention of finding truth rather than promoting a political side. When people start talking about how they're finding truth, you know that's those are stories you can totally take to the bank.
I'm hungry for dialogue, a space for in-depth analysis, and a judgment-free zone. That
A
is what I plan to
judgment-free
do.
zone, like at least no judging of anatransphobia is allowed, I think is what that means. I mean, because like she's allowed to judge trans people.
Every week, I will provide subscribers with 2 to 3 written pieces that dig deeper into the big stories of the week. With the intent-
Okay, so that's what that was. I think we're going to move on. And we've got a couple of options here. We can look at the disastrous Israel's like absolutely disastrous attempt to invade and occupy Lebanon as seen by Loserbox. We've got exposing the IDF's incompetence with the Majority Report. That looks interesting. I mean, and then we've got a Darman video that appears to be like anti-masking. And I'm kind of interested in that. Actually, I think we'll do the fuck that. We haven't done a Darman in a bit. Let's do that. I mean, unless it turns out to be just intolerably boring. Normal is a town in Illinois.
What's up, shorty?
Is it bring your kid to work day?
Have you guys seen this?
Hottie alert.
Ex-boyband superstar turned award-winning actor Jack Boswell surprised long-term girlfriend Victoria Sauls with a marriage proposal. As guessed, the stylish Princeton grad
Okay.
was too smart to
They've
say.
got like this is different for Darman. It's a high school with students under 40.
No.
Oh my gosh, how do you go to Princeton and have time to go out looking like that?
Professional help, duh. Jack probably got her the best glam squad money could buy.
How lucky are they? I would do her makeup for free any day of the week.
I like how I love that generic. The school is called Cheer. Apparently, they're going to Cheer High School.
Hashtag goals.
Oh, I'll take 2 boxes of Thin Mints.
No, I'm just looking for my locker. I think it's right there.
I know where it is. The elementary school. It's about 3 blocks that way. Bye-bye. Oh, don't talk to strangers. And maybe you can find a hair salon along the way because your hair is giving off total I just woke up energy.
Wow, burn.
Have you seen the new teacher?
For like a second. She said she'd be right back.
Is she cute?
She's okay, I guess.
Like, is this what?
Chase, is she cuter than me?
No.
Yeah, this is a totally normal conversation to have.
This again? Okay, I'll take a box of pecan sandies too.
Morning, class. I'm your new calc teacher, Miss Summers.
What's with the mask?
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic, and schools are one of the main sources of transmission, so you should all be wearing them too, because you're getting fucking brain damage every day you're going to these schools.
Maybe she's trying to protect us.
From what, her face?
You must be Crystal Wayne.
Yep, you must be familiar with my work.
She's our head cheerleader.
I'm more familiar with your GPA in this class, which puts you on my may not pass list. Oh my gosh, Gracie, my transfer, right? I couldn't even see you back there. Crystal, please switch places with her.
Got it. I'll be down by the daycare center. Bye, everyone.
You know, you have quite the talent for causing problems. Let's see if you know how to solve them.
I thought we just established that she doesn't.
Who, me?
What is the antiderivative of x to the n?
5x plus c?
Sorry, no. Anyone else?
It's always
X
math
to
in
the
these.
n plus 1
It's
divided by
weird.
n
It's
plus
always math.
1 plus c.
What was that, Gracie?
X to the n plus 1.
I'm gonna need you to speak up. Because that was absolutely correct. Can you come to the board and show us how you got there?
So, okay, this is one of those where the title is misleading, it seems, because the mask is not what we're focusing on here so much, or what the hell's going on here?
Want a step stool?
Yes, to show up your ass.
You can step on Crystal's books. She doesn't seem to be using them.
Okay, that's a really shitty thing for a teacher to say, even in response to a shitty thing a student just said. Also, that's actually a crappy mask. Like, fucking Darman won't even string for a KN95s.
Whoa! Super sorry about that. You're Gracie, right?
Your mansion's where the New York mayor lives.
I'm Chase. Nice work in that calc problem, by the way.
Thanks, bro. I probably should have kept quiet.
No way. You totally nailed it.
Slow your roll, Little Miss Training Pants. Find your own date for homecoming.
Like, have you got anything? This is, so she's like, she's crap at calculus because she's too busy coming up with these improv zingers.
Maybe one of your stuffed animals.
Come on, Crystal.
No one's going to ask you, especially my boyfriend, because it'd be creepy and sad.
So, is her last name Meth?
Let's go.
Hey there, how was it?
Terrible.
Something wrong with the way I did your hair?
Yeah.
Well,
everything. I miss the way Mom used to do it.
Sweetie, I know it's hard being in a new school now, but...
What were you thinking?
what kind of school is called Cheer?
Skipping me ahead this many grades. I'm like the freak of the school. I'm never gonna be able to make
And also, that's not how that works.
friends.
Don't say that. It's only your first day. Just give it a little time, that's all.
It won't make any difference.
You don't know that?
Dad, it was awful. Can't we just go back to homeschooling?
Honey, we're way past that. You know that.
The prize being getting, like, insulted by generic cheerleaders?
Prize, okay? You could be the youngest person ever to graduate from Stanford. Think of
I
it.
don't want to. Look, I know
Yeah,
how
fuck Stanford. I want to go on the East Coast.
much you love Stanford, but I just want to be a kid. I want to go to school with people my own age. I just want to be normal.
I know it's hard.
Oh, well, see, little did you know, Adria. This answers Caleb Maupin's question of what is normal and why shouldn't you be it?
For you, baby. But
Ugh, can we please not talk about this right now?
sure, honey. You know that I only want the best for my bright, beautiful girl. You know that? I hope.
I graded your tests.
Who did your hair? A blind person?
Stop, please.
Yeah, like, you already did a hair joke.
You may be a genius, but you have literally no clue. Your part's so crooked.
I live.
Like, is this all she's got?
At my dad's house, not a beauty salon. What am I supposed to do?
Work to the wise. Gracie's hair, not your biggest concern.
Great, fine, understood.
Really? Is it? At this rate, you'll flunk right out of cheerleading.
And at Cheer High School, you can't flunk out of cheerleading because...
Perfect score, plus the bonus question. Bravo, Gracie. Prioritize. I shouldn't have to beg you.
Crystal.
Like, does she wear the cheerleading uniform every single day? Does she not, like, have clothes?
Oh. Hi, Mom. What's up?
We decided to buy you, like, another outfit so that you don't have to wear that every single day, and we can wash it once in a while.
That's what I would like to know. Spoke with Coach. You are this close to being put on academic probation.
The new calculus teacher really has it in for me, but I'll get my grades up so I can stay on the squad.
You better. Starting tonight.
See, considering how badly they're paid, this performance is exactly what they're getting paid for. Like, the fucking perky grinning, like, that... Hey! It turns out you're flunking out of calculus! Like what?
From now
What is
on,
that?
Your laptop is for schoolwork only, restricted phone, no social media, no hanging out with friends, and no more cheerleading until you get your grades up.
What? But it was only a warning. I'm squad captain. You can't pull me off.
I already did. I called the school. You get your grades up and then we can discuss it. This is clearly an emergency. Consider it a triage.
That's not what triage means.
You're totally overreacting.
I don't think so.
And why are they in the basement of an Olive Garden?
But if you care to also lose your driving privileges, I'll take the keys to your Porsche and you can take the bus.
No, you don't need to do that.
I guess we'll see.
Fine, I'll be in my room studying. Crying.
One more thing. After school tomorrow, instead of cheer, you'll go to the library. I got you a tutor.
How embarrassing.
This is your last semester before college apps are due. Do you have any idea how selective pre-med programs are? I don't want to see you give up on your dreams. Someday you'll thank me.
There was a time when I wanted to be a doctor, but dreams change, Mom.
Now I want to be an insult comic.
Mine did.
We are not doing this with the makeup stuff again.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Is this gonna be another, like, plug for live scam makeup? See, there was another video. Kaylin Conrad did it. Did a great roasting of it a couple of weeks ago. That was supposedly, the dad rejects his son because the son uses Live Glam makeup, a company that nobody's ever heard of, and that's gay. Until he realizes that the son is the most successful makeup tutorial YouTuber in the universe or something like that. And the thing is, Darman owns the company that makes Live Glam makeup, and apparently it's notorious for fraudulent charms. Charges.
It is to me. Why can't we ever talk about it?
Because I don't have the strength.
Tracy?
It's Gracie.
My bad.
All right, teens, let's do this.
Yes, this makes perfect sense. This is a great idea.
Oops. High school can be such a dangerous place.
For an untalented insult comic? Well, yes. Oh, she has another outfit. That's, like... It's nice to see that she has, like, 2 sets of clothing.
No way, this can't be happening.
Hi, Crystal. Should we get started?
Here? In public?
Is there someplace?
Like, where else? It's a library.
So she'd rather do this?
For sure, but since it takes too long to get to Siberia, let's go over there.
That's...
Well, what do you think if we spend some of your hard-earned tutoring money, huh? Just kidding, baby. Whatever you want, it's on me, okay? So tell me, how did it go in your first tutoring session?
pretty torturous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, this seems like a lot to put on this kid. Like, what the hell? What? This is like the worst organized high school. Darman High School is just a weird fucking place.
What are we even doing?
And what does this title have to do with anything going on? Like, yes, the teacher's wearing a mask, which is a sensible thing to do in the middle of an ongoing, uncontrolled pandemic. But that is clearly, like, we're 9 minutes into this, and that is hardly even remarked on.
Well, I'm neither experienced in all this, but I believe you have to try a bunch of stuff. I'll tell you how great you look. And if there is one that you really dislike, that'll be my favorite one.
Well, this is a big waste of time and money. I mean, what high school boy is really gonna ask me to homecoming?
Yeah, I mean, and that would actually be low-key fucked up. Oh, that's like 4chan high school.
Well, no, I hope. And if there is one, you tell me, the principal and the police, okay?
Yeah, exactly, actually.
I'm just kidding. Well, sort of.
Well, no, you shouldn't be kidding, because that is actually fucked up. And illegal in many jurisdictions.
Look, honey, you don't need a date to go to the dance. You can go with your friends, like I did.
I don't have any friends.
What do you mean? What about people?
The guy from my physics camp?
Mm-hmm.
He lives in Norway. Why can't you just come with me?
I would love to, but...
That will be even worse than that would be even more awkward than everything else going on here.
You know that I worked that day. I can't. Look, baby.
Why is he displaying... What, is he in a shoe store? What's with all these shoes on display on these racks?
I know this whole thing has been an odd experience, to say the least, okay? But
that's just how fucking Darman movies work. They make absolutely no sense, and you just gotta roll with them. Eventually, he'll pay you if you sue him.
I want you to enjoy high school.
As a brainiac tween girl?
Well, we never have it established whether this is a public or a public high school to begin with. It's just a generic high school. Cheer high school.
Happening.
Come on. You like this one?
Oh, this is meant to be a shop. I was like, is this...
It's fire, but I don't think they're my size on this.
Well, why don't I ask? I'll be right back.
Dad, you don't really have... No,
I can't get away from her. It's like she's stalking me.
Be nice. She's your tutor. And plus, she might be the one who gets your pom-poms back.
Her dad buys her clothes? That explains a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great decision, Dad. Very excellent dadding here to, subject her to all this shit.
See what I mean? This eyeshadow and foundation with your skin tone is the perfect color combo.
It is. It's Darman's rip-off makeup company.
Oh, Crystal, it's a little out there. I mean, I don't want to look like I'm in some 80s music video. Or do I?
Pardon me. I just want to say how much I adore your makeup.
Thank you.
We're hiring part-time, so if you are looking for anything.
Oh, her mom doesn't let her work.
Seriously?
Well, it's true.
Call me.
Thanks. I'll hang on to this.
Sure.
Still gonna question me? Never again.
I pinky swear.
Oh my gosh.
What?
No, it's nothing.
It's a business card. I've never seen a business card before.
I got it too.
I'm gonna make that little brat pay for this if it's the last thing I ever do.
Gracie didn't post this.
Yeah, it was that burnout Quincy.
I don't care. She's a freak. I look like crap, and she's gonna regret the day she
Well,
ever set foot in
that's the fault of the production crew at Darman. I mean, and look at the budget they're working with.
Hi.
Because this is just his, like, fucking money laundering scheme anyway. Wait.
You guys are
How did they crack her combination? That is...
mean. Oh, please.
Not cool, Chris. What's wrong with you?
Lighten up.
Wait, like he's surprised by this? She's been nothing but shitty this entire time, and now he's shocked.
What is it?
The cheerleading squad wants to come and torment you more, and I thought it would be a good idea because my parenting skills suck.
Sorry, honey, were you asleep already?
I'm awake.
Great, because I've got some great news for you.
I had the cheerleading squad whacked.
I got you an interview with the Stanford next week.
Okay.
Weón, no te anticipé tanto, weón. Recién llega al liceo.
Hey, that's great, Dad. Thanks.
Like, I mean, how does this fucking Darman educational system work? They just sort of skip you up. Okay, well, we skipped you up like 5 grades this time, and now why don't we just send you to fucking Stanford? You were in high school for like 2 days.
Were you crying, honey?
Just because everybody treats you like shit, and your father doesn't understand you and is actually really bad at this?
No, I'm just tired, that's all. Can we please talk about this in the morning?
Sure thing, baby.
See, usually they have the high school students in a Darman movie are about his age.
Good night.
I guess he realized that, like, real high school students would be cheaper.
Night.
Gracie got an F? That's bizarre.
Mind your business, please. And keep up the good work.
That's it.
Class, has anyone seen Gracie today?
I have. Right before class. Saw her in the bathroom by the library.
Excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back.
So nobody thought to just check to see where the hell she was before they gave the test that she got a 0 on?
It's Miss Summers. Gracie, is that you?
Well, he uses unpaid labor in general. I mean, like, his cast members have reported that, you know, they live in their cars while working on his fucking shitty ass movies.
Gracie, what's wrong?
Everything.
Can you be a little more specific?
It's just too hard.
What is, dear?
Like you don't know. I mean, they've been like treating her like shit right in front of you. Although I have to say, my own experience of school, that level of obliviousness is not entirely unrealistic.
Being a stupid genius. I never wanted it to be like this. My dad is so obsessed with me being the youngest to graduate Stanford. And he had me skip ahead all the way to 12th grade.
Wait. What's the point of skipping all the way to 12th grade and then immediately getting an interview at Stanford? Like, why wouldn't you just... That just seems pointless. Why, I mean, if you can do that, why wouldn't you just get the interview at Stanford in the first place?
And now I'm getting bullied. I never wanted it to be like this. I just want to be a regular kid again.
That's just it. You're not a regular kid. What
You're in Darman movies.
you have is so special. You should never see it as negative. Even if other
Well,
people
you're not exactly helping, are you?
do. Intelligence like yours is something to be proud of.
You don't understand, Miss Summers. Nobody does.
I do understand. I swear to you.
Then why the fuck do you let, like, everybody else in the class treat her like shit? What do you understand?
How could you, though? It's okay. I'm not even that smart.
What do you mean?
I think on our last test, I totally flunked it. I should probably just go back to middle school.
You mean this test, right?
See, I told you. I got a 0.
You did. You got every answer wrong. I thought that was strange.
That takes skill, actually.
But when I looked at it more closely, I noticed something even stranger. On every problem,
You wrote, fuck this.
you did all of the work correctly, came to the correct solutions, and then you just wrote something completely different as the answers.
Well, then why are you giving her a 0? Like, if she got the right solutions, then why aren't you giving her 100? Because obviously you can see what she did.
It's almost as if you wanted to get a 0. But you know what? The only thing you failed at was failure.
Well, no, she succeeded at it because she got the fucking 0. She did really well at failure.
You get 100 for doing all your work correct. Kind of ironic, huh? Gracie?
Yeah, this isn't going to at all have, like, negative consequences for her.
Can you please come back to class? I have an important announcement I'd like to make, and I'd like for you to hear it. If, after you decide to go back to middle school, I will talk to your dad, and I'll try to sell him on the idea. Does that sound like a plan? It's up to you. I'm gonna say what I have to say anyway. But I'd love for you to hear it.
Like, okay. We're gonna have a touching Darman moment.
I know there's been some curiosity about why I'm wearing a mask.
I mean, there shouldn't be. We're in the middle of an uncontrolled fucking pandemic.
Today I'm gonna answer that. I've heard a few rather wild theories.
Somebody was saying something about COVID? What is that? Joe Biden said there is no COVID.
One of them being that my face was scarred from an acid throwing attack.
I was just joking. But it
Well,
wasn't
wow, you suck.
funny, sorry. But I mean, something must be wrong with your face if you...
Like, this is 2024. I think everybody knows why people wear masks. Like, is this meant to be an alternate universe?
You know.
Well, you can all see for yourselves.
It can't be. There's just no way. You're... Victoria Solace?
What the hell? You're this person nobody's heard of. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, it's really...
It's really fascinating how the moral of the story manages to always be just... Like, what even was this? What even was this?
I did it because I didn't want you guys treating me differently just because I'm married to a celebrity. I even used a made-up name.
Wait, so Miss Summers, Miss Solace, you're like 18 years old. How are you already a full teacher?
Because she's amazingly smart and already graduated from Princeton. Remember? I know everything about you. I'm your total biggest fan.
That's not how I remember it. Let me give you a refresher. You see, Crystal and I were in 2nd grade together. I was the weirdo, the IQ freak.
What the hell is an IQ freak?
The class nerd. And Crystal and her friends wouldn't stop teasing me. So you see, I didn't want to spend my time with kids like that. That's why I spent my time on my talent and studied hard.
Like, okay, this is just... Yeah, no, fuck this. We got 20 minutes to go. Let's see.
I skipped grades.
We're gonna look at the incompetence
but
of
I
the
was still
IDF
bullied.
from now on.
The more I advanced, the worse it got.
We got 20 minutes. We're gonna... Okay. That... I mean, what's really amazing is not only was that, like, 2 remarkably shitty stories, but it was also really shittily, like, anticlimactic as well. And I love the premise that in 2024 nobody would have any idea why somebody would be wearing a fucking
We are
medical face
back,
mask.
and we are joined again by Greg Stoker, former United States Army Ranger and geopolitical analyst, host of the anti-imperialist Colonial Outcast podcast. Greg, thanks so much for coming back on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So, your background, I think people may be familiar, but for those who aren't, you enlisted right after high school. You served in the U.S. Army, as I mentioned. So, if you were to guess, or based on conversations you've had with people, what is the appetite within the U.S. Armed Services to go to war to back up Israel as they're committing genocide?
Which, I mean, that is not a hypothetical. Like, actual troops have been positioned to do exactly that. It really does look as if the U.S. is poised to, like, just jump into the genocide, at least in Lebanon, directly if Israel can't manage a ground invasion, which it's looking like they can't manage.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people within the United States military don't see it as a genocide.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you look at the stuff that they do, a lot of which is much worse than what Israel does. I mean, the U.S. has done quite a few fucking genocides. I mean, what always gets lost when people are like, I mean, when people will point out, like, say, Israel is doing the worst thing ever, it's like, yes, but it's the second worst thing ever. Because the thing is, the U.S. does worse shit than that all the time.
The word terrorist has been weaponized for generations to basically be used as a mechanism of the great powers to condemn forms of violence that they don't approve of. So a lot of people are still drinking the Kool-Aid.
And I have to say, it seems to me, and I'd be interested in your experience as well, chat, that that Israel has actually managed this time to break through the demonization of the, like, Palestinian and regional resistance. I just get the impression, like, I mean, I've been involved in, like, Palestinian solidarity stuff in one way or another for about 20 years. And I am seeing, like, usually there would be, like, I'm used to there being a certain hesitancy around any kind of, like, armed Palestinian resistance or anything like that. You know, and the hand-wringing about finding the Palestinian Gandhi and stuff, and look, they're doing something non-violent and stuff like that. And it's like, I see a lot less of it now. I mean, it's totally anecdotal, but I can't help noticing the level of enthusiasm around, like, John Elmer's resistance report on the EI live stream, for example. I mean, that is consistently, from just looking at the chat, probably the most popular segment that they've got. It seems like just looking at what Israel is doing, and the U.S., of course, because the U.S. is part of this every step of the way, has led a lot of people who had previously, you know, sorry, looked at, like, Palestinian armed resistance groups and said, you know, I didn't know about these people, and now they're like, yeah, actually now I kind of get it. I can actually see where they're coming from after months of this.
However, the big question is the massive U.S. military-wide recruiting crisis that is ongoing. That's a real threat to United States capabilities going forward, especially fighting a near peer like China in the future. You know, we have the whole situation going on with Taiwan. And there's also a massive retention crisis because there are people having moral qualms about what's happening in the Middle East, concerns about getting...
Yeah, this is incidentally true about cops as well. For all the money that's being poured into police forces in the past few years, they are having trouble recruiting and retaining too, and good. These should not be jobs that people want.
Another nebulous forever war in that region. So there's a retention crisis as well, and that's where experienced veterans with dozens of, like 5, 10, maybe 15 years of experience will not re-enlist to do another 5 years. They'll just get out. So there's a lot of national security ramifications and consequences for U.S. foreign policy right now, backing Israel unconditionally.
Right. I mean, we know that there are some troops in the region, as we have mentioned. Biden has now come out publicly and basically told Israel not to attack Iran's nuclear sites, which, like, the idea that he even had to say that publicly is immensely concerning to me.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, what a lot of people don't seem to get is that when Biden is saying this stuff in English in press conferences and stuff, he's not talking to Israel. He's placating us. This is not how he communicates with Netanyahu. He has Netanyahu's fucking phone numbers. He can get Netanyahu on the phone 24 hours a day. He does not he does not give instructions to Netanyahu via NBC News or whatever.
I mean, I guess let's go and do a little bit of a recap of what we've seen over the past week and a half, with Israel bombing the hell out of Lebanon, killing hundreds of people after they did 2 mass terrorist attacks, I would argue, with the pager explosion and the walkie-talkie explosion. Sowing terror throughout Lebanon. It's basically a way to make people feel a lot of fear. Then they carpet bomb large areas outside of Beirut, and they killed hundreds of people. Last night they also
U.S. and British bomber jets were attacking Yemen.
Bombed a residential building apartment building in Beirut that had associations with Hezbollah.
Except it didn't really. See, the thing is, and this is an important thing to understand. Hezbollah is a huge political movement in Lebanon. To say something has associations with it is meaningless. It would be hard to go to like a major city in Lebanon and not find Hezbollah supporters. It's a major political party. Supporters of Hezbollah is not the same thing as members of their fucking armed wing. This is a conflation that they've been doing with Hamas all along, and now they're doing with Hezbollah. But these are political parties that also have military wings because of the context in which they exist, like Sinn Féin used to, like the German Communist Party did back in the 20s and early 30s, like the Chilean Communist Party did up until the 1990s. That is not an uncommon thing, and so what they're doing here is trying to, I mean, I'm not saying that Emma Vigeland is doing this. I'm saying, the media strategy is specifically to get you to think that wherever Hezbollah or Hamas members or supporters are, that means that their military is. And we know, especially in the case of Hezbollah, that's simply not true. They're not keeping their shit in people's homes. They have this huge, Cheyenne Mountain type complex, fucking NORAD of the Levant, in the mountains, where they've buried all of their really heavy artillery that is, under hundreds of feet of rock, totally unbombable. They're not putting this stuff in people's backyards.
It was right next to a hospital, and there's a lot of just other massive ramifications from that. Over 1 million people in Lebanon have already been displaced. That's, I guess, the broad understanding of what Israel's done in Lebanon. But
and one thing that needs to be noted is they always look invincible in the air. That is the one thing they're good at, because it's they have no air defenses. None of the people they attack have air defenses. So it is incredibly easy to do what they're doing, as long as you can, like, be okay, get your conscience squared with it, which it would be the hard part, because it is just mass murder of defenseless people. But other than that, this is the easy part, and it does not change the fact that their ground forces are dog shit.
In terms of on the ground in southern Lebanon and what Hezbollah is dealing with, can you just break down these events since then?
Well, I mean, I could definitely talk about the tactical situation going forward, and I think that's the best way to describe the insanity of this operation. So, actually, just before now, for my show on Mint Press News later tonight, I interviewed a former Marine Corps drill instructor who worked with the IDF, and we were just talking about their complete lack of discipline, lack of situational awareness, lack of competence.
All this stuff. And, like, I think, judging from the thumbnail, and we're not going to be, unfortunately, now I'm wishing we had just done this the whole time. I'm going to link this in chat for anyone who wants to watch the whole thing. Copy video URL, because we're going to have to wrap up. But judging from the thumbnail on this video, they're going to talk about the fact that the IDF does not apparently teach their people what fields of fire are. And I'm not, without getting into too much detail on that, fields of fire is a concept, the purpose of which is to ensure that infantry formations do not shoot each other in the back when shit goes down. It is a very basic thing, because if everybody's facing one way, and they have their guns facing one way, then the guys in the back are going to shoot the guys in the front, and then they're fucked. But the way if you watch these Israeli death squads holding their guns, when they're walking in formation, when they're walking in a line or whatever, they're like holding the guns to each other's backs a lot of the time, which is not what you were supposed to do. Because if you get startled, you're gonna fucking shoot. You're gonna fucking shoot your mates in the back. Okay. With that, it is time to wrap up. Thanks to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I am going to be taking a break from streaming for the next week because I'm going to be at the Polyglot Conference. Let me drop the link to that in case anyone's interested. It absolutely rocks. It's an online event. Where there are going to be like talks about language stuff, and there are going to be practice rooms where you can practice languages you're working on and stuff like that. And it's just a really chill, positive environment for language obsessives like me. And I'm going to be there, and you might see me there as well if you join in. There's a suggested donation of £30, but you can do less than that. That is only a suggestion. They don't want people to be like priced out of it if they can't afford that. And so if you're into languages and you have even the slightest thought that this might be something you'd be into, it is from like the 10th to the 13th of this month, I think. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So I will be back the week after that. At 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and we'll see who's on their bullshit then, and whether Israel is still trying to get into Odessa village on the Lebanese border, or whether they've given it up. Have a good night, and yeah, let's hope that they have given it up by then. Because they can do an unholy amount of harm in the process of screwing themselves permanently. It would be nice if they just sort of split the difference